Right. Well, I'm very glad to be here,
All right.
I didn't expect anybody to reach out so soon, but here we are.
All right. So I'm ready whenever you are. You ready?
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready.
Just let you know, Julian, before we get started, this might be the most extended introduction that I've ever gifted or given, okay?
Okay, no problem. I got
All right.
time.
Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. On this episode, I have the honor, truly the honor, of speaking with Julian. Julian, I've reached out to community over the last month or so, and by far the number one topic is one that you currently are transitioning into with your own health. And that's why I directly reached out to you once I saw the post. I think it was like in a chronic kidney disease group or something,
Yeah, yeah,
because I follow that group because of my father who lives with chronic
right.
kidney disease. And you posted something about a week ago. And I said, let me see how I can directly reach out to Julian. Julian, seriously, brother, first thing first, I'm going to gift you these flowers because it's one man to another man, a man of color. Seriously, not often do we get the opportunity and the chance to truly just share with each other our truths. There's so much behind that, behind our background, our upbringing, and everything that truly makes us who we are. And we are not one part who we are whole who we are when we're able to have this conversation, have these conversations. Um,
Right.
if you can see, I got the Tupac shirt on, right?
Yeah,
LA,
loving it.
repping for the West Side. For you, I mean, I'm from the Philly area, but Tupac is my iconic hero.
Yeah,
So as I gift you these flowers, I wanted to start this episode off a little different. You know Tupac, right?
of course, man. He was my idol for many years.
Many years, okay.
Now it's Bob Marley.
I love Bob also.
Yeah,
Bob Marley actually spent some time in my area. He lived around me like for many years, like the area I grew up in.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know that.
Julian, you truly are the rose that grew from concrete.
Yeah, bro. I got the book right here, man.
I got the book also.
Yeah.
So many don't know this poem, but I'm going to recite it to you, brother, just out of respect for your lived experience. Did you hear about that? The rose that grew from a crack in the concrete,
Of course. That's the
Prove,
title of the book.
proving nature's law is wrong. It
Yep.
learned to walk without having feet.
Yeah.
Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long
Yeah.
live the rose that grew from concrete
Concrete.
when
Yep.
no one
Amen.
else cared.
Exactly.
Long live you, Julian.
Well, now with this newfound this new opportunity that I have, a different outlook at life.
Yes, Julian, could you please give our audience a summary of who you are?
Um, man, I didn't even plan this out, but I grew up, born and raised here in Orange County, California. Um, I was diagnosed with type 2 at 14 years old. And in 1 year, it went from type 2 to type 1, insulin dependent. And it's been 18 years, and 4 years ago, I had a stroke. And so, due to the failed kidneys, so I was fortunate enough to already had been in the hospital because of the kidney failure when I had the stroke. So I was already in bed when it happened. And I just woke up the next day and asked, hey, what time's breakfast coming around? And the doctor, well, it wasn't the doctor, but it was somebody that was in the room, and they just gasped for air, and they said, like, what did he say? Oh, you're back. And then he stepped out of the room, called the doctor. The doctor came in. He's like, oh, you scared us last night. And I'm like, over here in my head, like, what's going on? What does that mean? And I realized there was a pipe in my throat, I guess apparently going to my lungs. And he's like, you had a stroke last night. And I just looked, I'm like, man, it's already morning, but I was more in shock than to ask the details. What kind of stroke? How long was I out for? It was all just more of a shock to me than anything. But I knew that's when I realized, like, man, God is powerful, and He's been with me since day one, man. So, I mean, everything else, if you have anything that you want to clarify for the people, go ahead and ask. But that's the summary I could give.
Look, that's what I do best. Clarify for the people. First thing first, you took a walk on
Yeah,
the other side of life. We know that death is the inevitable. If you're born, then death is the inevitable.
yeah.
But you took that
Good
other
point.
side, and you can't. You're back.
Yeah, that's what the doctor said. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. So you're actually on the journey and the path in life that you're supposed to be on.
Yeah,
You weren't supposed to go.
yeah, that's what I realized.
I mean, you're 30 plus year old man, so am I. We've seen the transition of peers, friends, family, and we know how that affected us.
Yeah,
Knowing that now you got this whole new life that was gifted to you.
yeah, I'm
I
truly
I,
grateful.
I know you're gonna make the best of it
Definitely.
because when I first reached out to you about a week ago, the main focus wasn't on the disease. It was on being able to share insight and gift the community your experience, your lived experience, but also the story of recovery, the story and the transition of this occurred, but now I'm going to show everybody else what they can equally do. Because you hopped on that group chat, that group, and you just started like spilling like what happened, you were like basically like I'm refreshed,
Yeah,
and that in itself is going to uplift other people.
yeah. I had about a bunch of people reach out to me. Strangers, people in the United Kingdom, all over the world.
Look, I'm a stranger.
Yeah,
I mean, man, you're my brother. Seriously.
yeah. Now we're family.
Yep, family. That's how I treat it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if many don't know this, but I'm going to try and get this released today.
Mhm.
I reached out to the community as you saw it and
Yeah.
asked like if anyone had questions or whatnot. And many did. But before I get there, I just want to inform you. Julian just stated that he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at age 14. And a year later or so, he was told that he had type 1.
Yeah.
Many of us, people that look like you and I, are given that original type 2 diagnosis. It's solely based off of the color of our skin.
Mhm.
Truly, it's a misdiagnosis. And from that point on, at age 14, you probably had to become a man even earlier than
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Well, my parents weren't born here, so I had to pay attention to everything in English, translate. But then it made me who I am now, because I started at that age, at 22, I moved out. Once I started working at 16 and a half because I didn't end up going to high school, because of the condition I had. I said, what's the point? So I got that first taste of money and I never looked back. At age 22, I moved out. 7 years I lived on my own. But luckily, I was fortunate enough to have my parents still together and alive. And when this stroke happened, my dad took me in and he said, "Hey, don't worry about it right now. Just focus on yourself, you know." So it's been 4 years and I'm back at home, but I don't have too much, but I know it's only gonna go up from here, you know?
It's going to go up from here. It has to.
Yeah.
You know, Master P told us back in the 90s, it ain't no limit, right?
Oh yeah, no limit soldiers.
You know, and you're a no limit soldier. And if
Yeah.
you ever have to think about that, remember, I told you.
That's gonna
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah. So you grew up with, it was you, your mom, your dad, any siblings?
Yeah, I have one brother, yeah.
One brother. Does anyone else live with any chronic health conditions or autoimmune conditions?
Man, I have a big family and I'm the only one out of anybody like that has any type of disease as far as they know, they don't get checkups too often. But out of
Understand.
everybody, I was the one. I was the fortunate one.
Right. Because I mean, I was diagnosed in with type 1 diabetes in 2003. And for probably the next 15, 16 plus years, I didn't know anyone else did until I went and looked back on me and my brother, my younger brother did ancestry DNA. And I found out that my great grandmother passed in 1954 from acidosis, ketoacidosis, diabetes related. Like that, and she was the first person I knew then, like, because my dad, he has type 2 diabetes and he knows that's related to his own health and struggles. But, you know, when you're diagnosed at a young age, like you at 14, you know that you did nothing that brought that on.
Yeah. Well, I was a heavy kid, but I can't blame my parents' lack of nutrition and whatnot.
Right. It wasn't their fault.
No.
And from that day moving forward, age 14, you had to take on it all. I have a cousin who was diagnosed at age 12 and she's had to take it on it all. And I'm going to just give
Been
you
a
an
journey.
example. Yes. Retinopathy. You know
Yeah.
retinopathy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Chronic kidney disease,
Yeah.
neuropathy,
Neuropathy. Yeah.
all of those things. Um, gastroparesis, um, all of these things before the age of 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, her parents didn't know back then when
Hmm.
she was diagnosed early on that these were the things that could occur.
Yeah. I didn't know as well. If not, I would have cut everything out of my diet that I didn't, that wasn't healthy or nutrition.
Mhm.
But I
We
just
didn't
kept doing the same thing.
we didn't have the support groups. We weren't able to see other people online that can tell us about these things.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Yeah,
I'm very fortunate. I had to reach out to the communities.
yeah, the community. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. Online, like you people you don't know really, like Jack. Like I don't know you at all. Like before seeing you online, but these are the people that help us more. So then, even the medical teams that we had early on.
Yeah, like the second news after getting diagnosed, they're like, "Hey, this is a disease. You're gonna live with it for the rest of your life." And then,
What's for life for a man for a young boy of color who's already probably done struggled with many other things growing up.
bro, it was crazy. I thought I wasn't gonna be to live to see 18, and that was my mindset every year. So now with the medical advances, it was just crazy when they told me like, "Hey, there's this procedure," and I was fortunate enough to be the first one in the county where I live to get the dual pancreas they call, or the dual transplant they call it. So it's very it what a time, what a time to be alive. The first one in the county, so
Right.
I I couldn't say no.
Dual transplant. When that option was first brought to you, were you Did it bring any like skepticism towards it? Like, like I don't know if I want to be this test tube baby. Like, really, like I'm not going to be the crash test dummy at all.
Well, this is the word they said. They said theoretically it should take care of this, it should take care of that. You might go back to type 2, but either way I was like, hey, type 2 is more manageable than type 1, you know?
Hmm.
So I was on board. They're like, let's do this. I didn't know at the time I was going to be the first one. They didn't let me know until until it happened.
Look, you the first one. Not only the first one in your county, the only one,
Yeah.
right? Like, how long has it been since your transplant?
Uh, well, the 10/10, so it's been like what, 15 days? Well, that was Monday, so give or take, 18, less than 18 days, a couple
Look,
days.
I'm going to let you know right now. You are on day 20 today.
Oh, yeah, see,
Look,
I'm just thinking
at,
like my birthday's on Friday. That's the date,
oh, your
turning
birthday's this
33.
Friday?
Yeah, turning
Look, man,
33 years
happy
old.
birthday. We're going to celebrate you today, man. For real. We're going to celebrate you. We're going to throw a party in the group chat and everything. Look, you're going to put your cash app in there and I'm going to let them know, like,
Oh, bro.
come on, man. For real. Because as I tell people, you got a second chance of life, man. Seriously. You got a second chance of life. And in this space, people call me like a therapist in this space. I've done work over the years in therapy, helping people heal from wounds dating back to even pre their birth, their parents' upbringings and things like that, because we know that those things affect us moving forward if people weren't able to heal from that. But today, you're on a journey of healing that not only is going to help your family moving forward, it's going to help the world moving forward.
Yeah.
You're the first
Well,
one in your county to
yeah, they
have it.
actually want to do an interview at the hospital, because I was a big talk while I was there.
Do it. Do it all
Yeah.
because
My,
the hospital's going to get promotion from all of that. No one
exactly.
needs greater promotion than you. You're the
Yeah.
person living with this.
Yeah.
Um, how long did you live with? You lived with diabetes for 18 years. How long did
Yeah.
you live with chronic kidney disease?
4 years.
4 years. Do you remember
Yeah.
when you were told you had chronic kidney disease?
Bro, first since nobody in my family has it, first thing I started swelling up. My feet started swelling up. I was working at the time. So I just thought maybe it was lack of drinking enough water, being on my feet all day. So by the time I ended up going to the hospital, my throat, my feet, everything had changed. Everybody thought I was a victim of getting beat up or something. I was so swollen, my eyes, everything. And so then they told me, like, they didn't even tell me. They just started dialysis right away. I had the dialysis
Or
port going through my chest. And then I was like, I was expecting to die, but dialysis. So like, oh, you're gonna have to be on this for life. 3 times a week, 3 hours every time. And I'm like, well, at least I ain't dead.
at least
So they told me, they're like, hey, until there's a better option or you can get a transplant. But luckily, I was fortunate enough. My mom came over here pregnant with me, so I feel like that was something I can't even describe that. But if it wasn't for her taking the risk, being pregnant, coming over here to this new country and being born here, fortunate enough, because if you're not born here, they offer dialysis, but they do not offer a transplant. And some people commit suicide as soon as they hear the news. But, I can't, I have too many people looking down from the sky. Just like if they were still here, they'd push me, they'd tell me, hey, you're going to get through this. But so that's my main motivation.
that's the first I've ever heard of that. So if you're not born here, you can do dialysis, but you
Yeah,
can't get the transplant.
that's what I've heard.
Healthcare in America, politics in America, it's all messed up.
Bro, for all my life, well, since I turned 18, I never registered to vote for the same reason, you know? And just a couple months ago, I registered and now I'm like kind of regretting it, you know?
Don't regret it. Because as I tell people, look, my dog's back here sleeping. Can you hear him?
Yeah,
Yeah. As I tell people, your vote may not be for today. It may not be for tomorrow. It may be for someone like yourself who's been
yeah,
here for 33 years. It may be for someone 33 years from now that will help benefit them, where they'll be able to easily get the needs they need medically, even not being born here.
yeah. And that's the reason I signed up because my friend opened my mind up. He's like, man, you should be voting since you got diagnosed, since you turned 18 because of your medical condition and stuff. So that's the reason I registered. But just on the political standpoint, I'm like, I don't know what party I agree with. So I ended up going independent. So I'm like, who am I gonna vote for? And then the same buddy's like, you could just vote for the propositions and stuff like that. You don't have to pick one of the presidency or whatever, you know? So I'm still trying to inform myself on that part, you know?
Yeah, you'll get to it. I had a conversation with my 10-year-old just yesterday. And he's a child prodigy, and we're talking about things such as democracy. And he's like telling me like the true definition of democracy is his like if we're living in a democracy, then you have the choice and the option to make change occur. We're not living under a dictatorship
Dictatorship, yeah, exactly.
where we're being forced to do
Force.
certain things. And
Yeah,
just knowing that, that helps and benefits like me explaining to others like why they should exercise their right. But
yeah. But my dad got his citizenship and he's been voting ever since.
see, like, so you've lived with, hold on, even before diagnosis of diabetes, you lived with the challenges as an immigrant here in the US. Those challenges, your parents, your
My
family,
parents, yeah.
yeah, that whole, you were their translator and everything.
Exactly. I almost filed their taxes at like in
Yeah, at a young,
elementary. Like,
you were forced to grow up fast.
yeah,
Then you got diabetes, forced to grow up even faster. Chronic kidney
yeah,
disease, forced to grow up faster. What other
yeah.
complications, because most of them stem from diabetes, have you had?
Well, I had cataract surgery last year. Um, I had neuropathy because of I thought it was initially because of the stroke, but you know, the stroke luckily didn't affect me in too much ways. I guess it was neuropathy, you know, but now I'm able to use a forearm crutch. I was
Mhm.
wheelchair bound for over a year and a half. Did a lot of occupational, physical, and speech, you know. So, but other than that, my health's been fair. They say, you know, I have one good eye, which I still have 20/20 vision. Sometimes I just was wink the bad eye just to have a clearer vision, you know. But like, let me see. No, like just those things primarily, you know. I was blessed enough they haven't amputated any limbs or anything like that or lost sensation in my fingers after so many years of pricking them, you know.
Right.
But
Right. You can even, if you get a magnifying glass or whatever, you can see all the little spots.
yeah,
Yeah. What has been the most challenging?
I say that because my one of my first jobs was a plumbing apprentice. So I was kind of scared every day, like, oh man, I hope I don't get a cut and then get an infection and then they got to amputate something or,
Hmm.
and then having to take a break every so often to go check my sugar, clean up, alcohol prep swab, and make sure I was always sanitary. And, so as soon as I could get a different job, I was there for 3 years because I ended up, that's when I moved. So I moved to the guy's guest house. And so, but at the end, like in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I can't pick this up as a career because any day I could get an infection. So
Understood.
then, I had, what was it called? I had, I injured myself at that time. And then I had to get what do they call it? When you mess up the guy downstairs and you got to get a surgery. Um, what's the word? Uh, I don't know. I can't think of it right now, but I had to get a surgery and then I didn't have health insurance. So my dad, luckily, he's been a janitor where he's at for 30 plus years. And he got me in. And then within the week, I was having surgery already for the condition that I had. And so then that's when I jumped jobs. And then I was a CNC operator. So it's like, man, I must have had like over 15 or close to 15 jobs in my whole career. At the end of it, I was a warehouse manager because I realized I had to go. I didn't go to high school, but I was fortunate to go to college, and I got my business management certification, and then that just opened up doors. No longer
Look,
working.
I got to pause right there. I'm like, you didn't go to high school, but you were able to go to college,
Yeah, I
uh,
went to community college.
community college. I got you.
Yeah,
Look, that's an opportunity that people don't know even exists, that you can do that.
yeah, yeah. Because I was working the CNC job, and then I went through two different managers, so I just thought I was up next. And the boss, he was like, I can't give it to you. Like you have no education. So I had to prove it, not necessarily prove him wrong, but I was like, well, what are my options? And then I started investigating, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? This is business management certificate, and with that, you could open up possibilities. Maybe even work in HR or something like that. So I hopped on it, and luckily, I had enough money saved that I could take a break from working, and I was able to get a part time for the first time in my life. And I was doing both school and the part time, going to two different classes, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Took about 6 months, 8 months, give or take, but I was able to get it done. And so as soon as I got it, the next job offer that I had was a apprentice for a returns manager because the lady was pregnant. So it was going to be her third or fourth kid. So she never came back. So they're like, hey, Julian, you can walk the walk, talk the talk. Like, here you go. Here's the opportunity. And I had the certificate already. So it was meant to be. And then from there, it was just like the next job. Okay. And then I just started as a return lead. And then the third job was another returns lead, but it was in the city where I lived. So that was like, bro, I'll get to work in 10 minutes.
Look, it sounds like truly like blessings were bestowed upon you.
Yeah,
I mean,
it sounds like a book. Like I'm just reading the script, but brother, I can't make this up.
look, I could see the movie. Like,
Yeah,
for real, you're painting a very vivid picture of who you are. And before we got on this call, because I was like thinking like, okay, is it Pacific Standard Time or Eastern Standard Time? Because I found out you lived in California. So I went and did a
yeah,
little research. And brother Julian, as much as you do and you've done, you said like this blue collar, hard, tough like work. I understand. I
yeah,
did that. I did that for many years. Worked in the warehouse and logistics manager, all of that stuff. Um, but something that a lot of people probably don't know, other than your close loved ones, relatives, friends, and family. Do you know what I'm about to, you know where I'm about to go from here?
I don't
There's
want.
something that you do that I've equally done for as long as I can remember. You write, you write
Yeah, thank you for that,
lyrics,
man.
poetry, all of that. And it's good. It's real good. I went back to probably like 2016 on your Facebook post and was like, he's been doing this and he's real good. So
I guess that's
I wanted
just
to let you know that.
making up for the time that I didn't go to high school. I had to educate myself on my own, you know.
Hmm.
I didn't want to sound like a dummy. I didn't want to sound this or that, you know. How to be presentable, how to, talk the talk. And then it was just walking the walk. At the end of my career, at that last job, I was able to get my brother, which was an ex-felon at the time, and my mother, which doesn't speak the language. I got them both a job and they worked under me. I was their supervisor, you know? So it was like, dude, I was able to take my mom to work and, I'd see my brother show up a little bit late, but that's just him, you know?
But you
But
was
it's
able to get him in and you did everything that you could, even as you were managing these chronic health conditions,
yeah,
fighting for insurance and trying to evade all those loopholes.
yeah,
There were so many things that you were doing just to stay alive. But not only did you stay alive, but you helped lift up the life of other people. You brought them along your journey, man. Like I don't,
yeah.
I want you to truly like understand what, like feel what I'm trying to say to you. Those are God-like characteristics.
Bro. Uh,
You understand what I'm saying to you?
yeah,
Because you were struggling. You didn't give yourself this struggle, this pain, these obstacles, these challenges, these tight ropes that you had to maneuver through. You did not give yourself that. But even while you were doing that, you brought your people along
yes.
and you
That's
continue to do so.
yeah.
So
Sorry, man.
you're good, brother. Because when you write this down and get this book published, because you're going to get this book published, and you have all these excerpts with your poetry in there, it's going to be a New York, LA, uh, best what did like top seller, like it's going to be because Julian, you made it.
thank you for that, man.
Like myself, like I always told myself growing up, like I'm an emotional thug. Like seriously, like I mean, I'm not worried or concerned about others seeing me cry, sharing emotion. That's something that men do, you know. That's
Yeah.
something we do. And we started off. I was talking about the roast that grew from concrete, and I had a poem to end this session, but I wanted to tap into it right now. It's another poem by Tupac, and this is all inspiration from you today. So I wanted to read this before we continue because when we continue, we're going to get into the nooks and crannies of like why the community really wanted to hear from you. Okay.
Hmm.
So, another Tupac poem. I don't know if you know this. Well, you know it because you got the book. Like I got the book, and it's crazy. I've had the book since 2001. An ex-girlfriend actually bought it for me for Christmas.
Mm.
So, sometimes I cry. Sometimes when I'm alone, I cry because I'm on my own. The tears I cry are bitter and warm. They flow with life, but take no form. I cry because my heart is torn and I find it difficult to carry on. If I had an ear to confide in, I would cry
Yeah.
amongst my treasured friends. But who do you know that stops that long to help another carry on? The world moves fast and it would rather pass you by. than to stop and see what makes you cry. It's painful and
Bro, it's bringing
sad.
back flashbacks.
It's painful and sad. And sometimes I cry and no one cares about why.
Wow.
Julian,
Bro, bringing
I
back
have to
flashback to the first time I read the book. Yeah.
I have to tell you this here today in this space, the people that are going to be tuning into this, paying attention to this, that you're going to be sharing it with, we understand why we cry.
Yeah.
Those long, dark nights where we truly were alone, not being able to explain the things that were going on inside of us with our bodies, all of those things. But today, with given this opportunity to have this conversation, people are going to understand. Because for the last 18 years, even family, friends, loved ones, they may got a little bit of it. Like,
Yeah.
you got diabetes, you got to take insulin, you got chronic kidney disease, you got to go and get the liquid removed and all of that. Like, okay, your eyes are going bad. Let's get the surgery, injections, whatever.
Yeah. Every 6 weeks, I was getting those injections.
But they don't understand the nuances, the things that go on in between that. Like, you working this hard job and doing everything, but in your
Yeah.
mind, you still got to worry about, is my blood sugar going high? Is it going low?
Yeah.
The confusion of, like, I got to get this job done. I got to get this task done, but your blood sugar is dropping.
Yeah.
You got family, friends you got to tend to. You can't tell them no. We were operating, we have this community has operated in a way that others will truly never understand.
Yeah.
And that's why I did ask the community today questions regarding, like, do they have any questions regarding you today and getting this transplant? Because about a month ago, before you were even in the chat, someone had posted, I'm going to read it. They had asked about getting a kidney and pancreas transplant. They don't need a kidney transplant. They're not even on dialysis, but they were asking about getting these transplants. And many people chimed in and were like, well, the pancreas transplant, they're truly not going to gift it to you unless you need the kidney also.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, couldn't I just get it because I'm young and to get rid of, so I won't have diabetes? But it's a lot more that goes into it than that.
Yeah.
Could you share your story of even before the transplant? Like, how were you? How was it? Who brought it to your attention that you're going to need this?
I didn't even, in the beginning, I didn't even know it was an option, you know? I thought, like, man, I had nobody to blame but myself. Like, hey, poor diet, what diet, you know? And so then I was in dialysis and they told me, like, hey, this is a fairly new thing, new procedure here in this county. Like, they only done it in LA. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't know I was going to be the first one, but I was like, the word they use, you know, theoretically, I'm like, well, it's more manageable, I guess. But then they said, like, well, I had three different offers, you know. The first person was a stabbing victim in jail. Second person was a younger person that was in a car accident. But ultimately, the surgeon was the person that made the decision. Like, why am I going to give something that's not too good for this person when he's the right candidate? He's the right age. He's done everything that we can ask for. I was doing intermediate fasting those 4 years that I was on dialysis. Every other day I would have a little bit of fruit. I wouldn't have my first meal until I'd get home until 1 p.m. And so it was just a lot of sacrifice, but I didn't even realize, like I was just doing it to feel better, to stay healthy. And like I said, before that, I didn't have a diet, breakfast, burritos, caffeine, whatever, you name it. But I was just kind of ready to like, hey, it could happen any day, just like how my mom had that fear of getting deported any day. I'm like, hey, well, something's going to happen to me one day, but I didn't know that this was going to happen. And now I'm just like, man, I don't beat myself up, but it's just like nobody knows what the future has in store. But I can't even think about the word. Like, is it fortunate? But ultimately I just believe in God. And now after I woke up from the stroke, I'm like, my middle name is Emmanuel. And my mom gave me that name because it means God is with us. So that's when I realized, like, man, he's been with me this whole time. And like, you don't know what he has in store for you. You just got to make that sacrifice, have that willpower. And it's like the opportunity was there. The surgeons were like, hey, you're the perfect candidate. You're young. Let's do this. Like, it's ultimately up to you. You want to move forward. And I'm like, bro, I have to. If it's going to take away either the diabetes or the kidney condition, that's better than living with both. So I took my risk. And the third offer that I got was somebody that was on life support. And they're like, hey, well, this person's a match with your blood type and your tissue type, but it's just a matter of time until the family wants to, make that decision and go ahead and disconnect them. And in 2 days or the next day, they called me and they're like, hey, don't even have dinner. It's going to happen. So can you be down here in an hour and a half? Like, bro, I could be down there in 15 minutes. Let's do this.
Right. Oh,
So,
a lot of people don't understand that process of like the gift of life. Like when someone is about to transition and pass on, and the family having to sign off on the donation of those organs and everything. Just this past January, my 13-year-old nephew passed, and it took a lot for the family, for my brother and his mom to decide on donating those organs. Because first they were like, I want my child to leave here with the organs they came in here with. And it wasn't until, like, again, my 10-year-old actually told my brother, he was like, Jay Sean is not here anymore in the physical.
yeah.
When he transitions, his full body will transition with him. Those organs and everything that are here on earth are just here on earth.
Yeah.
Use them for someone else. Like, help gift them the life that he wasn't able to have here on earth.
Yeah, you could potentially extend 5 people's lives.
Yes.
And I still want to reach out to the family, but my social worker was telling me you could write a letter and then we'll see if they reach out back. But at the same time, I don't want to upset anybody or get them thinking or get anybody emotional. So I'm just giving it time, and hopefully I'm still in the recovery, but we'll see, in a couple months if they want to, accept the letter or whatnot, then we'll go from there.
Right, because it's solely on that family. Like you said, you can send the letter, or like that family can actually reach out if they want to directly, but it's all on them.
Yeah.
And yeah, because they are the ones who did have that loss.
Yeah, make that decision.
Right. So yeah, just know I'm sure that they and everyone else will be happy and pleased with your progress and journey moving forward seriously because
Mhm.
I mean, like in this conversation, like I don't even just sense it. I know it. You keep on reiterating about the change that you're going to do, that's going to come about. And you were doing that even before going through um, the different complications. You like again, you were bringing your people along.
Yeah.
Um, I want to ask, so you didn't even know that you were getting that call because I hear people talk about like how they've had their bags packed for 6 months waiting. Did you have bags packed?
I packed the day that they told me, not even the first offer. I was like, well, I didn't like the odds of the guy, so I was just like, I'll leave it to God, the day that they tell me if it's today, then it's going to happen. But I took every offer. But like I said, the surgeon was the one that made the ultimate decision once he harvested the organs. And he's like, why am I going to give this from somebody that was older? The first person was older than me. Second person, because they were in that car accident and he didn't like the looks of the organs. They were a little beat up. But that third one, like they say, third time's a charm. And it just happened so sudden. I didn't really pack anything, because I was like, man, maybe I just packed the binders, the what are they called? The for the kidney disease binders that you had to take, the phosphorus binders,
Mhm.
and that was about it. And I took my glucometer, but by that time I was already using the Dexcom, but I knew they were going to remove it, because of the surgery, and they did. So I had the Dexcom, and then the next morning after the surgery and everything was said and done, my fasting blood sugar was 70. And I was like, man, is there a mistake or like, because they were telling me like it could take a week for the new organs to wake up, they could be dormant for a week. And it was like the next morning I was already urinating and the blood sugar was stable or under control, and now it's like it's setting in. But in the beginning, it was like, hey, is this machine working? Like, are you sure that's my blood sugars? Because I was used to waking up at 200, fasting. So to go from 200 to 70, I was like, you guys sure? Are you sure that's my results? So it was so surreal. But now I'm like, hey, this is where we're at. This happened.
Do you
So
actually feel the difference when you wake up now after it's been 10 days?
um, you know what? I had this conversation with my mom. She told me that out of all the babies that she's cared for, I was the only one that had sticky urine as a baby. So what I realized, why by the time I got diagnosed at 14, the doctor came in and he's like, "Hey, how you feeling?" And I'm like, "Well, like a normal, I thought, normal 14-year-old." And he's like, "Bro, your blood sugar's at 400." I was like, well, is that good or is that bad? I didn't know no difference. It's like, bro, 400, you should be in a coma right now, in a diabetic coma. So I think I was maybe even born with the type 2, didn't get diagnosed till 14. So, but other than that, like now, I thought maybe I would feel shaky or something because of the numbers being so low. But like, I'm thinking it's because of my age or something, that I haven't felt any not side effects, but just any effects in general because it's stable now. It's like it doesn't go above 200 like an hour after a big meal, so it's just I feel like any day that I don't have dialysis, like just what I consider to be normal.
Yeah, so when you were just saying that about how you don't, how like waking up at 70 and you don't, you would think that drop going from that 200 to that 70, you would feel that drastic change like normally people would. But normally
Yeah,
those people that would be the people who are using man-made insulin because that man-made insulin, that rapid increase, that rapid drop does
yeah,
alter your body. but
Yeah, the shape, the silhouette.
because you have an actual pancreas that is actually functioning off of real naturally made insulin through your beta
Insulin.
cells,
Yeah,
you're not going to get that same feeling.
right. Makes
So
sense.
it's more natural. Like you, I mean, some people may you're going to get people that say things about like organ transplants or whatnot. People who blatantly reject them. Like I would never do that. Why would? But it's not their calling. Like you said, God said it was your turn, your time, your turn. Like
Yeah.
the advancement in medicine and technology over the years have helped everyone. So someone can't say they won't do this, but considering over the last 300 years, their families have done every and anything to stay alive. At the turn of the 19th century, the average life expectancy was 46 years. 46 years. Today, it's upwards of
Yeah.
76 years. There's reason
Right.
behind that.
Hmm.
Yeah. So when you got that call, I know there had to be tears at some point. There had to be prayer at some point.
Oh, that was prayer right now when we took that break. I was just like, man, God, like, give me the strength to continue this interview and not just break down or have any kind of second thoughts or anything like that. And I was
Those
just
are
like,
tears of joy, man. Tears of joy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. How long did that process actually take? Like actually the transplant from the day from the time on the hour where you got willed in, put on the bed to when you woke up.
It was roughly 12 hours. My mom says the surgery took 7. So they called me like right before 7 o'clock. And I remember 7 a.m. the next morning, that's when I woke up. And my mom's like, yeah, we've been here since dinner time and now it's breakfast time. So roughly 12 hours. And the surgery itself, like I said, took 7 hours because of the removing the pancreas. And then I think with the kidney, they just place it on top of the other ones.
Mhm.
Because there's some people, bro, like they don't appreciate life and they take the new kidney away, and they end up on dialysis in less than 10 years. But because like they'll even tell you like, yeah, I didn't watch my diet, I didn't do this and that. So it's like I seen this lady that just during this week that she got her transplant as well. But she's coming down all the way from Fresno, which is like 4 hours or give or take. But then every time that I've seen her, I've only seen her twice or 3 times maybe. And she just looks bad every time. And she's like, oh, it's because I got sick. And when I get sick, I eat beans. I eat all these things that her body probably is in shock. Like, yo, you're not supposed to be eating these things. And she could care less. And I'm like, some people, they don't appreciate it. So I just,
That's why
like
we're
I
able
said,
to. I appreciate being able to get the education firsthand from someone like yourself that can tell our community.
hmm
Yeah, you're able to lead that path because I'm telling you, there's many people in our community that are asking about this. I recorded with a young lady back in May. She actually got a kidney transplant. She didn't get the kidney pancreas, and she never even went on dialysis. So I
wow.
think it was like February 2003, I believe. She found out that she had chronic kidney disease.
hmm
All her family lined up and got tested. A cousin of
Yeah.
hers was a direct match. Gave her
Yeah.
kidney. She didn't even have to start dialysis.
Bro, I had a cousin as well that offered me her kidney, not even knowing if she was a match. But I told her, hey, I would try to see, but in my case, it's different.
Mhm.
So I I had to do what I had to do, dialysis for 4 years, and put in that work, and it paid off.
It did. And like I said, like my dad, who's um had type 2 diabetes, I think since like 1995, 96, and has had chronic kidney disease for almost 7 years. He's closer to like 70s now. And we know that he prefers not to go through that because he's lived his life and everything. Even though us, his kids, were like, Dad, if it gives you more time, and he's like, I'm okay. So
Yeah,
that's his choice.
yeah. And there's people like that, and I can't blame nobody. Like, dude, I still carry the continuous glucose monitor. I still have it. Like, it's like my safety blanket now, like
For real.
they're
Keep it
like,
as
hey,
long
you
as you
don't need
can.
that no more.
Look, you got people out here, fitness junkies and whatever, who wear them now. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Someone asked a question, what was the recovery process like? And does taking anti-rejection meds every day, is that easier than taking insulin?
Oh, um, well, I have like 6 or 7 alarms on my phone, but then it was like the insulin. I was to the point that anytime you had something in your mouth, you'd take a correction shot. So some days when I was like really bad or really not watching what I ate, like it would be up to 5 shots a day. So 5 and 7, either 7 medications or 5 shots. And I think there's just the medications it's pain free, like just take a sip of water and that's it. Like less than 10 seconds. The insulin, you gotta prep, you gotta do all this. So, and then if you're on the vial, you gotta, have that refrigerated. So it's just, everybody's gonna have their different opinion. But for me, in my case, this is easier. Like I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a lot of medication right now, but I heard that it is what it is for the first month. Like I had messaged you earlier, I had just got back from the 6:30 blood works in the mornings. So that's twice a week right now. But I'm like, bro, this sure beats dialysis 3 times a week. So I don't mind waking up. Like I'm up at 6 o'clock every day for the last 4 years. Like I don't drink caffeine. I don't drink dairy products. And it's just like my body, it only needs 6 hours of rest. And people are like, how do you do it? How do you not take naps during the day? I'm like, I can't explain it, bro. Your body just like, when you put in that discipline, that diet discipline, it's like, hey, 6 hours is enough sleep. And my body's up. And I'm just like, dude, I don't be yawning. I don't get the sensation of hunger. I haven't felt that sensation like, oh, I'm starving. I need to eat something. Like, even though they told me, like, hey, you're going to be able to have breakfast now because your body's going to have more appetite. Like, I just now have to, because I was on fluid restriction when the whole time I was on dialysis, but now I got to drink like up to 4 water bottles throughout the day. So I'm like, okay, so I'm up for about 16 hours, divide that by 2, divide that by 2. So it's like every 4 hours, I try to drink 1 water bottle. And it's like, it's a new routine. And that would be the main thing that I say I struggle with, but I get it done, 4 water bottles throughout the day. It's doable. But it's just like now it's in the back of my head, like, watch how much you drink. And I'm like, hey, you don't have to watch it no more. But just like I don't drink soda. That's the first thing I cut out like 4 years ago. Like I said, caffeine, coffee, all that stuff. Like, and now with the transplant, I even teas. The only tea that I can have is black tea. So it's like, but I don't go around every restaurant. Hey, do you guys have black tea? I don't try to cut no corners. It's like I'll stick to water, and then the sodas that they told me that I can have now is Coke and Pepsi and ginger ale. So the first week that I got discharged from the hospital, I went to go buy the mini cans of ginger ale because Coke and Pepsi don't even taste good in my book. So I'm like,
Same.
I'll I'll have like one little Coke of the ginger ale once a week, you know. I'm not pushing it either. Like I'm still consistent, like I'm still conscious. That's what I meant to say. I'm conscious of like, hey, bro, don't make this a habit. Not because they told you can have this. Don't do it every day. Like just this week, I'm like, okay, so now that I can have breakfast, what are my options? Because I don't want to eat eggs every morning, you know?
Mhm.
Something that I haven't ate in 4 years. I'm like, I'm not just gonna start eating eggs every morning because it's convenient. So I started reaching out to people like, hey, how do you make overnight oats? How do you do this? How do you do that? Or what is it, cream of wheat? So like after this, I'm gonna go to a Vons because I figured out they have everything. You know, they have more than just what offers. Like they got the right almond milks, the right chia seed. They got everything that you need is more at Vons than at Walmart. Walmart just has your like
The
generic
basics.
stuff. Like so, I'm like, okay, might go to Vons today, pick up what I need to get. Like even yogurt, like dude, I cut that out too. But now I'm like, okay, yogurt, it's not doesn't sound too bad, you know. Like it doesn't have carbs, it doesn't have this. So then I'm like, okay, I think yogurt would be good. So
Mhm.
it's just getting used to those things, like. But
Learning
like I
the
said, it
learning the discipline. You
yeah,
hear just in the diabetes online space, where the discipline aspect of things are like the worst for many people. They're like, I'm not going to cut that out. I'd rather just give more insulin or whatnot. I mean, to each its own.
yeah,
But for you to be able to, like, that shows another power and strength in you to be able to just cut it out and just move on. Cause I understand that strength. Like, I remember, like, when I stopped eating certain things, like, over the years, and like, I never went back to them
hmm
because I was like, I stopped it for a reason.
yeah, because I knew the consequences, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm like, man, I'm gonna be 33 at the time. You know, I was 29 when I had when I was in the hospital and I had to start dialysis. It was around my 29th birthday. So I'm like, bro, I met people that only lasted 2 years on dialysis and they're no longer here because they were like, man, I was bad this weekend and I had a couple hot dogs, but it was like a weekly thing, you know, and they were already overweight. So it was like, I didn't want to say their future. I didn't want to like make them think like, oh, this guy's just hating or this guy this, you know? So I just stayed in my own lane and did what I did. I didn't tell nobody what I was doing. Like, that intermediate fasting, or sometimes I would have grapes or like a slice or two of watermelon. Like I didn't have to tell nobody because the few people that I did tell, they'd be like, hey, this guy's starving himself or this guy's crazy, you know? But not once did in this 4 years did I ever have to go an extra session, you know, to remove excess fluids. They just did the straight filtration. They're like, oh, you don't even gain weight. We're just going to do the filtration. And then some people are like, hey, can you come tomorrow because you gained too much liquid? And they're like, oh, it's because I went to a family party and then, you know, they ate what they weren't supposed to. And trust me, like avocados and mangoes, like that was my top two right there. But as soon as they told me I had to cut that out, I cut it out. So, and then potato was like, yeah, I see that's only starch, you know, so it was just like common sense. And then beans as well, you know, and everything else they told me, I cut it out. I was like, hey, even if I loved avocado, I love tomatoes, I love this and that, I was like, nope, dietitian says it has to go, and I don't want to come an extra day.
Right. You did whatever you can to live another day. Really.
Yeah.
Another question that was asked, they wanted to know about your donor. First, was your pancreas and your kidney from the same donor?
Yeah, apparently it has to be, you know,
Okay.
because you don't want to have two different on top of taking three primarily anti-rejection pills. But I haven't heard anything else, so it has to be from the same donor.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. Like I wrote it down and was like, I'm not sure if it's from the same person because they asked also were was it a live donor, but I already know like via the kidney, like unless it's like right away, like it's a live donor. But another question would be was would you have chosen the transplant with oh no, we answered that one. There was someone asked the same thing. Would you like have chosen a transplant with immunosuppressants versus managing diabetes for the rest of your life? Had a pancreas and kidney transplant was not a need. Like
Yeah, I seen somebody comment that.
mhm. Meaning like if you didn't need the transplants, would you opt for it still? Like saying like meaning a need, like if you weren't on dialysis
Yeah.
or if you didn't have diabetes or if your management was like tip top, would you still have gone for the transplant over having to manage these?
Um, I had never thought about it, but like now that you clarified that up a little bit, maybe I wouldn't have gone with the transplant if I was already on top of it, you know? But then at the end of the day, you know, it's you got to take advantage of these medical advances that we have. So it's like maybe if I was in that boat, maybe I would be like, yeah, you know what? I've had type 1, type 2 for this long. And, but in my case, like I said, you know, I had both. And I was like, no, man, if there's a possibility, even in that word that they use, theoretically,
Hmm.
I was like, hey, that's better than 3 times a week dialysis, even if it cuts it in half, or even if I just have to be on dialysis once a week, you know, I was still gone for it. But like if I didn't have dialysis, like that one lady you were saying that didn't start it and she got her transplant, then I don't know, you know, maybe I would have not took the offer and just been like, hey, this is manageable because I've had friends that are like, hey, if they could just give you one because it's faster, it's a faster wait, would you just get the kidney? I'm like, no, bro, like I'd get both. Like, oh, but diabetes is manageable. Like, yeah, dude, it's easy to for you to say you have
Right,
nothing, you know? But it's like I had both, so it was like I didn't like that word theoretically, but I was like, hey, that's better than being on dialysis and having to prick your fingers 4 times a day. Even if it cuts it down in half, you know, dialysis once or twice is better than 3 times. And pricking your fingers once or twice throughout the day is better than 4 times. But like you said, if I didn't have to be on dialysis, then maybe I would have took it as light and been like, hey, you know what? I could deal with this. Like, you know, so I don't know. I can't speak for something that didn't happen, but I'm glad it turned out the way it did. And I took that chance and here we are now, you know, and just Friday they removed the rest of the staples because it was like 40 staples that I had in the incision. So even in the hospital, I was only there for 4 days. And they're like, hey, people take like 7 days, depends on the organs are sleeping or whatnot, you know? And so, like I said before, like as soon as the surgery was done, the next morning I was producing in urine and the blood was under control. So the blood sugar was under control. So I was like, man, I thought this was going to be theoretically, but because the
it
donor was
happens.
young, yeah, because the donor was young and he was on life support, he wasn't deceased yet. So I didn't have to wait like for a week or just to be under monitoring of the hospital to make sure that they felt good. Like, okay, you know what? We think you're ready, you know? The only thing I had was the Foley catheter to urinate. I had that for about 2 weeks. They just took that out as on Monday this week, you know, because they took it out Friday, but then I didn't get the urge or sensation to go to the bathroom on my own. So they're like, yeah, dude, your bladder's probably full and your body hasn't recognized it yet. So they stuck another one in me. But Monday the doctor gave me an opportunity. He's like, hey, I know you just took it out in the morning, but you haven't gone to the restroom. So why don't you go have lunch, get some more fluid in you, come back in an hour and let us know if you're able to urinate, and we don't have to stick another one in you. So luckily my body was like, okay, time to go, time to go to the restroom. So I went back to the office on Monday and I was like, hey, I did it. So he's like, you feel comfortable? You feel that you're going to be producing? Like I was back there for the blood work today in the morning. So he's like, hey, on Wednesday, let us know if you haven't gone or you feel that you have like a pain or anything in your bladder. Because if you have a full bladder, it could back up into the pancreas and we don't want that. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good
It
either. I
doesn't
don't want
sound good
that.
at all, at all. But it was what was the biggest push for your transplant? Well, ahead of you answering that, I know that you've had many complications, like you said, like chronic kidney disease. You had the stroke. You had the eye and the vision problems, neuropathy problems. So those are all complications related to diabetes. And knowing that moving forward with diabetes, it only meant like more complications would probably come further on down the line. So when someone asks, what was the biggest push for your transplant, like you're able to live life without diabetes. The one thing that gave you all these complications, including the chronic kidney disease. So
Yeah.
you didn't want any more complications. No one does.
Yeah, because let's be real, it was either gonna be an amputated limb. And I didn't go down that rabbit hole like what are more complications, but just the ones that I had was enough, enough for me to like pick it up and be like, hey, you know what? I don't wanna end up losing a limb. So it was just thinking just like that, just like, hey, it's only gonna get worse.
Right. And you didn't want to be fully blind.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to lose the function in your fingers and hands and all of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I guess that was enough. Like, hey, you got to do this now if you want to see past. You like, I always thought like I was not gonna make it to 33, but after this transplant, I'm like, after being on dialysis, I was like, okay, this is a little break. I could live with a little bit more being on dialysis, but just dealing with that every other day or 3 times a week was like, it was all enough to be like, eventually I want to, if there's a possibility to cut this in half, go twice a week even. I was like, let's do it. So I was the right candidate. The surgeon was like, hey, he's young. He's done everything we've asked. So I want to make sure that he gets good organs. And like I said, I took every single offer they gave me, but the third one, he felt confident. And I didn't look into it too much, like, oh, this person, what did this person go for? Or like, what previous conditions did this person have? Like, I didn't ask. I just trusted that he made the right decision. Let's move forward. And so, like I said, they called me the next day. The day they called me, they're like, hey, we found a match. This guy's young. This guy's on life support. So it's just a matter of time. Like it's not going to be promised. It's not going to be a for sure. It's 1 in 1,000 still, but he is a match. He is a younger person. And like I said, I took any offer anyways, but I like the odds of that one better.
right. You never had to go through the experience. I hear many people go through where they got their bags packed, they get to the hospital or right there ready, and then something goes wrong.
Yeah, dude, my buddy's mom, 18 years on the wait list. They had to go to LA by the time, like the day she got the call, she did in-home dialysis. So they're like, hey, she's in the middle of a session. Do you want her to disconnect and just go straight out there? And they're like, no, let her finish her session and then come out here. So I don't know if it was because of that reason right there that they made that error. They should have had her disconnect and go right away. But when she got down there, they tested her for COVID. She had no symptoms before, prior to the day or whatever, but she came out positive. So it was like she didn't get it. After 18 years of waiting, and this was the moment she thought, she tested positive for COVID. And then just a month ago, she finally got her second offer. Well, I think it was her second. I didn't ask specifics, but it finally happened. And just in the blood works that I do and getting the results and stuff, I've heard people like, this is my fourth time. Like they kind of get over it, you know? So I kind of, not to say I was on the same boat, but from the first offer they gave me to the third one, I didn't think it was going to happen so suddenly. I was like, hey, I'll be able to spend my birthday like going out. I was going to go to Disneyland. And then it happened, you know, it happened in a month from the first offer to the third offer. It was like almost exactly a month apart. But I had given, not to say I had given up 100% of hope, but I just figured like, okay, maybe that gives me some more time, because I was able to do in that month. I was able to visit a friend that's he's in prison, and he accidentally murdered somebody. So I got the opportunity to see him one last time. If it would have happened, because right now I can't, at least for 3 months, they said my defenses are low. So I'm not able to, they don't want me to expose myself. I can't even go to church right now because they're like, yeah, you can't be exposing yourself too much. And so I was like, at least it didn't happen the first offer, because I was able to go see my friend, which I hadn't seen in like 4 years since I've been on dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I have never asked him how much time he's getting, but just for what he did, I know he's at least going to get 15 years. So I was able to go visit him and give him some words of encouragement before. So I was fortunate. There was another thing that I did as well, that I was still fortunate enough to get done prior to this third offer that I got, you know? So I just say, like, I keep saying this, but it's all God's timing, you know? Like maybe I was meant to go see him, because like if I would have got that first offer, I wouldn't have gone to go see him, because like I said, I'm on restrictions right now. So I think that made a difference, because I was even able to put $100 on his books, and he didn't know until I left. And then I wrote a letter to him, and I was like, hey bro, like you don't have to thank me or nothing, you know? It's like, I wish I would be working and I would be showing up to see you more often, but like this is where I've been at in 4 years, being wheelchair bound for a year and a half, like, and all that stuff. And I was like, but I made it, you know. I came to go see him, and as soon as I was done seeing him, like there was a handrail. I'll never forget. There was a handrail right there, and I just, as soon as I saw him, I was done seeing him. I was like, I got down on my knees and held onto the handrail and just prayed over him, you know? And like I said, I didn't expect it to happen before my birthday, but the surgeons like, or the doctors afterwards, they're like, yeah, forget about Disneyland for this year, but think about it this way. This is the best birthday present that you can receive. And I
By
was like,
far.
yeah, I 100% agreed. I was like speaking French. I was like, yeah, forget Disneyland.
I got you. While you were just telling that, well, even before then, as I'm recording with people, I try to think of like titles of their episode, and I had like many things written down, but I think I'm going to stick with this right here, because how you were just telling a story about your friend and you helping him and everything. And we've already talked about your ability to help others, including your mom and your brother and people along this journey. You've been the first in your county. Like it's all so much. So the title I have right now, and it's highlighted, is called His Calling. Julian, you've lived a life, brother.
Yeah.
You've lived a life. Jesus died at age 33.
That's what I was just telling my mom early, because she said I was 30, gonna be 34. I was like,
And
Mom,
Julian, you're making me tear, brother. But it's good. I told you I'm an emotional thug. Always
yeah, the
have been.
feeling's
Look,
mutual. Yeah, and so my mom was like, "No, you're gonna be 34." I'm like, "Mom, how are you gonna tell me if it's me? Like I've been waiting to be the age that Jesus died. So how are you gonna tell me that I'm already 33?" I had to show her my wristband. I was like, "No, it says 32 right here." But she's been through. My mom has been one of the top motivation. Like she lost her mom to cancer at 17. So she had to step up to the plate at 17, and become the stepmother for seven of her brothers. So that's one of the persons I draw my inspiration from, and she's a woman. So I'm like, if she could do this, like she has those same brothers that like now are 50 years old or whatever, that still call her like, "Hey sister, can you help me out financially?" But it's because they don't have the same drive or the same willpower as her. And she's a woman, like I said. So it's like, if she could do it, I could do this. And that's always been in the back of my head, like, bro, if she's made it, I could make it. I'm a man, so this is doable. Because
and
even when we were in the hospital during the transplant, she's like, "Yeah, I spent your grandma's last 2 years, while she was fighting cancer, days in the hospital, days and nights, without even eating sometimes, because I would sacrifice my meal to make sure that your grandmother ate." And so, bro, those are all just like things that I'll never forget. Sorry, I could feel it in my throat, like the emotions,
it's
like
cool,
you said.
cool. Because I jotted something down again. Because I jotted this down. It seems like an hour ago when you're telling a story of when you were going in for your transplant, and you mentioned your mother being there, and when you woke up, your mother being there, and I'm like, your mother has always been there. Your mother will always be there. Like, she's a true mother,
Yeah,
nurturer,
like,
giver, provider, teaching you all the intricate lessons in life. She even gave in or up on some of probably her hopes and dreams so
yep,
that you can be the hope and dream. You are her
yep,
greatest hope and dream, her greatest
yeah.
inspiration. Like
As a
you,
child, that might have been her biggest problem, but she
look,
knows that I'm her best protection. I'm her greatest protector now.
right. I mean, as a parent myself, like growing up, I didn't know, like, I mean, I know I put my parents through some stuff, like really, me and my
Yeah,
siblings, but I didn't realize how hard it was until like I had my own children. And I'm
yeah,
like, okay, respect mom and dad, like seriously, because
yeah,
I didn't know y'all struggles y'all were going to do with bills and food and housing and all of those things like they went through. They didn't even let
yeah,
me see that. They kept a
yeah,
smile on my face while I was being a
yeah.
little knucklehead.
Bro, I was just looking at the picture books the other day, and I was like, there's not one picture of my mom celebrating her own birthday or opening up a Christmas present. But there's so many, not so too many pictures, but all the beautiful pictures with those memories when I got my first boombox, for my birthday, when I opened up the presents for Christmas. It's like, bro, like she has sacrificed things that I don't even know of yet to this day. But I'm working on that, like little by little, like asking her questions like, "Mom, did you ever play sports in school?" Like little things. What did you like to do? And she's like, "Well, up until sixth grade, like that's when her life changed and she had to play the stepmom role." She's like, "Well, your grandfather needed help with all the kids." And so she's like, "But I loved basketball." And I'm like, "Man, I would have never thought, like you basketball." Like, and
Yeah,
she's like, "Yeah,
this is crazy, Julie. You know why? I told you earlier about me recording with my dad, and I didn't realize like a lot of the things he did when he was younger. Like he told me he played the saxophone, and I'm like, "You played the saxophone?" Like, come
Yeah.
on now. And, we don't realize the sacrifices our parents make and give to us. But I'm going to let your mom know this as I gift her flowers, because to give you flowers means I also must gift her and the entirety of those who care for you and love you the most their flowers, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be the person that you are today. So, Julian, when you get that New York Times, LA bestseller book, series, book, memoir, whatever, poetry, whatever that. I mean, I want to read this book, so it's got to happen. But and we gonna make sure that when you get that, or when you get your podcast or whatever you got going, sit down and have that conversation with your mom. You gonna find out some things about her that are you're gonna be like, that's very similar to myself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't realize the last 40 years, the things that my parents actually went through ahead of my birth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you made it.
And I always like I seen this documentary thing that they got on Hulu about Dear Mama, about Pac.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, that guy and his mom, that's like me and my mom. So that's why he was my biggest inspiration growing up. I'm like, bro, if I could relate to anybody, it's him and his mom. That's where he got his strength, and that's where I get my strength. I wish I could say the same for my dad, but my dad works 3 jobs, so he works hard right
Look,
now.
I understand. Like from the from my dad, I got the work, provide,
Yeah, maybe I got the work ethic.
take care of home. For my
Yeah,
mom, I got the love, the care, the nurture, be your best. I'm gonna always be there, like no matter what. No, my sacrifices for you mean nothing to me. Like those types of things are what I got
yeah,
from my mom, and I still get them. Like I remember having a conversation growing up and getting in an argument with my dad. We all got into them.
yeah,
And telling my dad at the time, I probably was like 15, like my mom is the closest thing to God that I've ever seen.
yeah. Same here.
And that's what I told him. And it turned into a bigger argument, but it's the truth. Like even today, and
Yeah,
he even knows that now. Like, come on now.
yep.
Yeah. Um,
Same thing with my dad. Like, but I must have got the work ethic from him.
put in that brute force nonstop.
Yeah. Yeah, and having like no emotion because my dad's lost
hmm
both of his parents and he never went back to Mexico. It's like, for what? Like, my parents are gone. There's no need to go back. I'm like, yeah, but you still got some relatives. And he's like, no, I got to provide for you guys. And I'm like, I guess his ideology makes sense. But now I see it like he's 66 or about to be 66, and I'm like, working 3 jobs, man. I wish I could get back on the work field right now and start doing my part. But he's like, when the stroke happened, he's like, hey, don't worry about it. You lived on your own for 7 years. Like, I got you right now. Just the day you get back on your feet, then you could say what you want or help out. But right now, don't worry about it. So I'm very thankful for him, because even my
You're gonna
mom, she's
forever be
not.
their baby. You'll forever be their baby.
And I'm the oldest one. So it's like, thankfully, I don't have older siblings because maybe I wouldn't have been the same or disciplined the same if I had an older brother or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah. I did want to tap back into these questions. Someone asked, did you have to get both, or was it recommended to get both when getting the transplant? Were you ever given an option of one?
No, in my case, no.
Right,
They were
right.
like, hey, we're going to knock out these two birds with one stone.
Because you had the complications from diabetes and the chronic kidney disease. Like they were equally As
as
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another asks, what was the recovery process like? And do they think that taking anti-rejection meds every day? Okay, we answered that. It's easier than taking insulin. You said, well, either way, like basically I'm taking them to stay alive.
Yep.
It ain't no ease versus work, no good versus bad. Like I'm staying alive.
Yeah, like I'm just thankful that after the stroke, I was able to recover my memories and my brain was able to function even after all the therapies I did, like I don't want to say what percentage I got my memory back, but like at least I'm not well, here and there now I have these so-called brain farts, but it's like, dude, at least I'm on top of the things I gotta be on top of, and I'm not depending on my mom, like, because like I said, she don't speak the language, so when we go to these doctor's appointments, I'll just have her wait in the lobby, and I'm the one that goes into the room and like jots down what I gotta
I was
jot
about to
down.
say with the notes.
Yeah, there's so many documentations. Like even the morning, I gotta check my vitals, check my weight. Up until Monday, I had to check how much the Foley, how much my output was of urine. But like I said, I think just having to deal with the Foley and being in the hospital for those 4 days, I think those were the two harder parts. Like the surgery, I was asleep. The recovery process, like, yeah, they removed the staples, but I haven't gotten any like swelling. I haven't gotten any complications because of it. And they be doing lab works, blood work twice a week. So it's only been 2.5 weeks, but I'm sure they would have already caught something. Like, hey, your body's rejecting them or something like that.
So far, so good.
Mm-hmm.
And look, and when we have a conversation a year from now about you and this book you writing, you're gonna be able to tell everybody like I'm still good. Like it's all Gucci over here. Like for real. Someone that asked how long was the recovery time, but I mean you're still in the recovery
Yeah.
stages.
Yeah.
Um, and what is your day to day like today? How is your day to day today, considering for years you had like this routine, waking
Well,
up
now,
for, especially the last 4 years with dialysis. You
yeah.
gotta,
Well, the first Saturday was kind of weird. Like, hey, you know what? I'm not on dialysis no more. Like, what am I gonna do today? Like I hadn't had a Saturday in 4 years, like birthday parties, weddings, like none of that. I would tell my whole family, don't even invite me if it's on a Saturday. I was like, I know they felt some type of way like this guy, but they don't know obviously how much it takes out of you. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but don't invite me if it's a Saturday. So my first Saturday, I was like, what am I gonna do tomorrow? Like I even wanted to go voluntarily to dialysis, but they're like, for what? I was like, because my feet are a little swollen. And they're like, no, that's just right now because your kidneys processing this, but like give it a week and you'll be back, like your feet will be back to normal. So I got in contact with my youth pastor from back in the day because I know he's very handy with his craftsmanship. Like that's the same guy that I used to live under his roof when I was doing the plumbing apprenticeship. So it had been like maybe 5 years. I missed his 50th birthday for the same reason because it was a Saturday. And so I was able to reach out to him Friday night and I was like, hey, how you doing on like side projects? And he's like, well, I don't have any right now. And I was like, hey, if you want, or can you help me out? I got this cabinet, medical cabinet that I want to build, and wanted to see if you could build it or if I could help in some kind of way. And he's like, well, actually, tomorrow works out because his wife and his daughter and the granddaughter they went down to San Diego Zoo, so he didn't have no plans for Saturday. And I was like, perfect. Like, let me know what time you want me to be at your house and I'll be there. So it took us about 6 to 8 hours, but that gave me something to do.
It was like dialysis.
Yeah, exactly. So I had no plans and we got it done, and he's like, "Hey," I told him at the end of the day, I was like, "So how much do I owe you?" And he's like, "No, it was an honor, it was my honor, something I like to do." And he even dropped me off with it and he painted it and everything. And when his wife showed up, she's like, "Oh, have you guys ate?" And I'm like, "Not since I got here, not since lunch." So she was even able to go pick up some dinner for us. And it was just like I reconnected right there with them. And I was just like every day, like I'm like, man, like God is literally right next to me right now, like providing. And like I was thinking Friday night, what am I gonna do tomorrow? And in 5 minutes, like that's when my youth pastor calls me, like he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll go pick up the materials, I'll go do this and that." And I was like, I was crazy. Like I had no plans and now I got plans. So I'm just like, I'm living in the moment and it feels good.
It looks good, brother. It looks good for real. Not just the feels. It looks good. Like seriously, you smiling, man. I know
Yeah,
there were days you woke up like, I gotta go to dialysis. Like this blood
yeah.
sugar is not moving. Like all of those types of things. The last question I have on here is from the actual young lady who had the kidney transplant. She asked, are you still insulin dependent? And we can all tell her on the count of three, one, two, three, no.
No.
Like diabetes gone. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It's like, in the beginning they said theoretically, but I'm like, hey, what happened to theoretically? It's gone.
right.
So, but like I said, I still had a Dexcom just because it's better than because they want me to check my fasting sugar. So I'm like, I might as well just wear the Dexcom, and just have it continuously tell me in case I see numbers above 200 and because I don't want it to get above 200 and it hasn't. So I'm just like, the other day it got like up to 180 or something. And I was like, should I get the pen out and inject some insulin? But as soon as within 5 minutes, it started going down. And I was like, oh, okay.
What had
I
you
like,
eaten that day, that time?
yeah, I had just had a lunch or dinner, one or the other, and I was like, looking at the numbers and I was like this close to getting the pen out.
Look, I've seen people who aren't diabetic put on a Dexcom and eating like whole large pizzas and ice cream, and they've just sat there and watched and like it won't go above 180 or so. They're like, and people like myself were looking like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
follow a
probably how
page.
you were.
Yeah, I follow one page on social media that's like that. Like this guy just does it to see what his sugar spikes or what food spike the sugar. And I'm like, I understand he's trying to inform the people, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's other ways.
Hmm.
But I think I might just be wearing the Dexcom for at least a year until I trust these organs. Like, okay, I haven't had a over 200 in a whole year. Maybe, yeah, it's time to get rid of the Dexcom.
Right. Right. Have you experienced any lows since?
No, the lowest it gets is to 70, but that's in the mornings.
Right. Because I mean, even a non-diabetic low isn't considered low until it's below 55.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably never ever get there.
Well, that's the only thing that they told me. They're like, oh, now you might have lows, but
Hmm.
just maybe in the first couple months while it's processing, the new organs are trying to regulate or trying to figure out what I picture it kind of like oil in a car. So it's just either trying to stabilize it. But no, thankfully I haven't had any lows where I wake up in the middle of the night like sweating like before when I would have lows in the middle of the night. Those are the scariest ones.
Mhm.
So
How long before you're able to resume like regular activity, or you have you resumed?
Yeah, yeah. I have a forearm crutch. So like even today the blood work, like on Monday I still took the wheelchair just because it was like I was gonna be there half of the day. And I was like, yeah, I don't wanna risk the incision like tearing or putting unnecessary pressure. But like today I was like, you know what? We're just gonna do the blood work so I don't have to walk too much. I think I could walk. So then I have like some 10-pound dumbbells as well that I do like light exercises, and I try to do the marching like just back when I was in physical therapy right after the stroke, those minimal exercises. I feel that like okay, I could do this, I could do that, put the resistant bands on my legs and do the I can't do squats yet, but like just doing those exercises with the resistant bands. I'm like thankfully I still remember from those that whole year that I was on physical therapy and there were light exercises. So those are that's the new routine. You know, I wake up, I do the exercises, and like maybe midway through the day, I'll do them again. But I make sure I don't overdo it because I'm conscious of like, hey, you're in recovery right now. But as long as the doctor says like he wants me to start, you know, walking around, so I'm just going by what they say, you know.
And you've been using like the crutches since you had your stroke?
Well, here in the house, I don't have to use them because it's more like the it's even, you know, the floor's even. But like when I leave the house, like I have a upright walker, and I'll kind of take that, but at the same time, I'm not exposing myself too much. But like when I do, I'll take the upright walker, you know, just to go check the mail or to go do this, go to the convenience store, something like that. But I make sure that I wear my mask. And like, yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but I'm like, hey, it's doable. I don't feel no pain, you know, and I'm like I said, I'm still young somewhat, you know.
Yeah, I
I
was
feel
just
like
about
it's
to. Sorry, I was just about to ask that. Is it almost like the pandemic has just begun for you again?
yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, I went through quarantine, so
Hmm.
you know, I'm in quarantine right now.
Right, because my sister is actually going through colon cancer and she started chemotherapy last week. She had surgery to remove partial colon back in September 11th to be exact. And like that's how she's saying like now, like it's for her, it's like the pandemic has just restarted because she has
Yeah,
to stay covered up and all that stuff.
yeah. So that's how I've been seeing it. I'm like, luckily we went through that. I call it I don't want to say, but I call it something else. You know, the pandemic because it was
Gotcha.
planned out. But you said this is the unapologetic, right?
Unapologetic.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, so that kind of helped. That's the only thing I took from it. Like, hey, it wasn't so bad just staying indoors. So I was just, I've been watching a lot of shows, been watching a lot of movies.
Catching up on true
Just,
crime.
Uh, I try not to watch those too much,
Gotcha.
but I watch like this medical show called Brilliant Minds. I'd be watching, last night I just rewatched that movie Belly.
Hmm.
I was like, oh man, I hadn't seen that movie in a
It's
long
good,
time.
right?
Yeah, it's really good. And I love the way DMX ended up, you know, like he ended up finding his faith and stuff.
Yep.
So that's another person that I look up to, you know, even though his music was like, it was something, it
Dark.
wasn't for everybody. Yeah. But like, I'll listen to it sometimes. I'm like you said, we're emotional thugs, you know? So I got to remind myself like, hey, I know I'm a new person, but like, I'm still the old me in a way, you know?
Right. Right. It's a part of you.
Yeah.
I did want to end on a few things. First, I wanted to ask, is there anything you would like to share with the community? Because again, like our community is people of color who've lived with type 1 diabetes, insulin dependence, and things of that nature. People who are going through some of the things you're going through. Like there's multiple people in the group that I created that are going through kidney that are going through dialysis treatment, and they're on lists for both kidney and pancreas transplants. Is there any words of encouragement that you want to give to them?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, for making this community. And then for the people out there, that are going through this, I always pray for the people going through some real stuff. Like, that's how I end my days, in prayer. That's how I started my days. And it's like, just don't give up hope. Like, it's possible. And if not, just look back at this podcast or whatever, whenever you have time, when they have time, because I know people be working, they be going through the motions and stuff. But like, hey, I'm living proof that it's possible. It can be done. Because like I said earlier, I've heard of people like as soon as they hear that they got to be on dialysis for a couple years, they commit suicide. That's just the reality of it. And it's like, I know that this podcast is going to reach the right people, because some people are still like, I have a buddy that's older, and as long as I've known him, he's been diabetic. And I told him before I was on the list, or as soon as I was on the list, and he looked at me with a straight face and just must thought I was crazy. Like, he didn't believe it. So like, this is for people like that as well. Like, I haven't seen him again, but it's like, now I'm living proof that it can be done, and it was done, So there's hope out there. Like, you just got to put in the work on your half to be the right candidate. Do the cut out what you got to cut out. And if fasting helps, that way you don't have to go extra days. Like, I wish somebody would have already gone through this and I wasn't the first one, and I could look back at their podcast, but here it is, I am that person. And, I'm looking forward to hearing other people's stories, like, because of, I'm not saying I'm the greatest inspiration, but like you clarified it for me, like, hey, you're going to give a lot of people hope. And I'm like, man, I'm not a poet. I'm not like, I'm none of this stuff that you've been saying, but it's like, I can see it now. Like, okay, maybe I don't have too many screws loose, but for the right person, it'll reach the right audience. And I'm just, I'm thankful to be here and thankful for the opportunity. And, there's hope out there.
And on that note, Julian, thank you. I truly thank you. It's been a true pleasure for joining me on the Chronically Well podcast, where we have real conversations with community that need to be heard. And Julian, you truly are someone that needs to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.